Hi, my name is Sarah, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about some of the therapy that I got to do with Dr. Bartosh a couple of years after I'd been in a really bad car accident. When I met Dr. Bartosh, um, I had a very significant limp on my right leg, and I had limited movement in my right arm and my right hand. And the reason why is because when I was 16, I was in a bad car accident. Um, it was on a December morning, and we hit ice and we collided with an oncoming semi. And the impact caused me to break the chair, and it threw me out the back window. And I don't remember the car accident. I remember the last thing I ever remember seeing before that was I saw the semi, and then 3 days later, I woke up in ICU after I had had surgery, and I woke up. I was paralyzed on the right side of my body from the shoulder down, and my C5 vertebrae had been completely shattered, and they had done surgery to do a bone graft and diffuse together my C4, C5, and C6 with plates and screws. And my spinal cord was bruised and there was a lot of swelling. But one of the really cool things is that they cannot explain how, but even though my spinal cord was surrounded by all of those sharp pieces of bone, it did not cut my spinal cord, which is a big praise to God for that. I started therapy a few days after being in the ICU unit, and my therapy was transferring from a bed to a wheelchair, learning how to eat with my left hand because I could use my left hand, but I could not use my right hand because of my injury. And the technical word for the kind of paralysis that I had is called Brown-Séquard, where instead of being from top to bottom, your paralysis is from left to right, almost like a stroke patient would have, only this is a spinal cord injury instead. Um, my therapist told me that I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life and that I would not be walking again. Well, I didn't like that at all. So I talked to my mom about it. I mean, she knew I was pretty upset and that I was determined and praying to God that I could walk again one day. I remember at the hospital waking up and I was laying there in the bed and my muscle on the top of my right leg, my quadricep muscle, I was starting to be able to move it, like just that muscle. I couldn't move my arm, but I could move that muscle in my leg. And I called my mom and dad, and I was so excited. And a couple of days after that, my mom got me moved to a bigger rehabilitation hospital over in Indianapolis. And at that hospital, we we worked on. She put a Forrest Gump brace on me, and we would walk in the parallel bars where she would grab the brace and move my leg, and then I would step. And she would hold me up by a belt, and then she'd grab that brace, and I'd step, and then she'd, and that was how I learned to start to walk again. And um, it took many many years for me to be able to walk without having a brace on. So when I left the rehab hospital, I left in a wheelchair, but I had a leg brace that went up behind my knee to support my leg, and then I had a crutch that I could use with my left hand to hold my body up because I could not use my right hand like that. After I left there, I did outpatient therapy, and um, we did electrical stimulation therapy, which I did that too while I was in the inpatient therapy. In inpatient therapy, we did pool therapy and Botox and weights and weight bearing, and you name it, we did it. It was very intense for 6 weeks. Well, after that, I went to the outpatient therapy, and that was for several months that I worked with them. And I would go in twice a week, and each time it's like my body would get stronger, but I was still not functioning as I was before my car accident. So for years, I used the electrical stimulation, and then I did therapy at home. And 4 years after my accident, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Bartosh, and I talked to him about my goals and what I wanted to accomplish. And what I really wanted is I wanted to walk again. I wanted to walk without having any kind of a limp. And I wanted to be able to use my hand the way that I use my other hand because I was right-handed and I want to go back to being right-handed is what I told him, and I want to be able to play the piano like I did, and I want to play basketball, and I want to go back to being 100%. And um, so he put together a customized workout routine for me, and we did cold laser therapy. We did hyperbaric oxygen chamber treatments. We did percussion therapy and pro adjustment therapy. And then he had a strict list of supplements that I was supposed to take. And then, like I said, he did a customized workout that I would do at home in the evenings and on weekends. And I worked with Dr. Bartosh for 6 years. And some of those years I was coming in twice a week, a lot of times. So we maybe come in like Monday to a Friday or Tuesday, Thursday, just depending on my work schedule. But I would come in to work out with him, and we would do our therapies, and then each time my body would get stronger. But if you know anything about spinal cord injuries, no two injuries are the same, and your nerves heal very, very slow. So it took years for me to be able to get to the point of where I was after working with him, but he was able to really help me to get further.